All right, let's talk about the fight against fraud. But this isn't your classic cops and robbers story. Nope. This is a full-blown, high-tech arms race. It's a digital battlefield where criminals and the people trying to stop them are locked in this crazy, escalating conflict. And the weapon of choice? Artificial intelligence.
So just to set the stakes, let's start with this absolute bombshell from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. What he's saying here is pretty terrifying. Think about it. The fundamental ways we prove we are who we say we are, our voice, our face, the basics, AI has basically broken them. This one statement just redefines the entire landscape. The very idea of trust is being rewritten by technology as we speak. So with that in mind, let's dive into the new battlefield. On one side of this whole conflict, you've got the regulators, the government, and they are not just sitting back and watching this happen. The rules of engagement, they're getting a whole lot tougher. And their big weapon here is something called the False Claims Act, or FCA. Now, historically, this was a tool used to go after fraud in government contracts, like for the military. But that's all changing. Its reach is expanding like crazy, and that's creating a landscape with way, way higher stakes for companies everywhere.
And just look where the new front line is. It's expanded into the absolute pillars of our modern economy. We're talking about cybersecurity firms that might be misrepresenting their own security. We're talking financial institutions, electronic health records, even the opioid supply chain. It just goes to show you this battlefield has gotten incredibly wide.
And the penalties, they are just staggering. Take Goldman Sachs. They got hit with a nearly $4 billion fine. Why? For a scheme where they misrepresented mortgage quality. This isn't just some slap on the wrist. These are the kinds of fines that can cripple a company, and they're designed to send a crystal clear message.
Okay, so that's one side. But let's flip over to the other side of this arms race, because this is where things get really interesting. While the government is busy sharpening its sword, the fraudsters, they're upgrading their entire arsenal with some truly futuristic and honestly pretty frightening tech. The absolute game changer here is generative AI. These tools that can create images, video, text. They're not just for artists and writers anymore. In the wrong hands, they become incredibly powerful weapons of deception. We're talking about deepfakes so convincing that they can fool just about anyone.
And the way these scams work is just terrifyingly simple. A fraudster can just scrape a few seconds of your voice from a social media video, clone it, and then call your mom or your dad with a fake emergency. "I'm in trouble. I need money now." There was a real case where a California woman lost her home to a scam just like this. It's personal, it's terrifying, and the scary part is, it works.
This huge shift in technology has also caused a huge strategic shift in organized crime. It just makes sense, right? Why would you risk physical danger and higher prison sentences with local street crime when you can operate globally, completely anonymously, and with so much less risk? For these gangs, financial crime has simply become the smarter business.
But look, it's not all doom and gloom. For every new offensive weapon that gets created, a new defense pops up. Fraud fighters are now turning the fraudster's greatest asset, technology, right back against them. They're learning to fight fire with data.
And the whole philosophy behind this new defense comes from a military concept called left-sided bang. It's a cool idea. The bang is the moment the fraud actually happens, so the goal is to operate to the left of it, using proactive intelligence, using data to spot the risks and shut down attacks before they can even get off the ground. It's all about prevention, not just reaction.
So how do you actually get to the left of the bang? Well, you start by finding the clues that are hidden in plain sight. Data analytics can spot weird anomalies that a human would never ever catch. Things like a ghost employee who's getting paid but has no payroll taxes, or a whole bunch of invoices getting entered at 2 in the morning on a Sunday. These are the digital breadcrumbs that lead investigators right to the source. And here's a perfect real-world example. An AI can scan every single payment going out the door. Is a vendor named something sketchy, like cash services? Or, hey, does this vendor's address just happen to match an employee's home address? Little automated checks like this can uncover super complex billing schemes, and they can do it in real time. It's pretty amazing.
But what happens when those defenses fail? What happens when the bang actually goes off? Well, that's when we enter the messy, unpredictable, and frankly, often frustrating aftermath, what you could call the legal fog of war.
See, catching the fraudster is really only half the battle. The legal fight that comes next, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's incredibly expensive. It can drag on for years. And this is the hardest truth of all. There's absolutely no guarantee you'll ever see that stolen money again, even if you win the case.
And part of what makes it so challenging is the burden of proof. So to prove what's called common law fraud, you have to prove intent. You have to prove they meant to do it. And that is a really high bar, especially when AI tools can cover a criminal's tracks. That's why it's often way easier to go after a simpler claim, like unjust enrichment. All you have to prove there is that they took something that belonged to you. See? The legal path you choose makes a huge difference in your chances of success.
Now, if you are successful, you might get back more than just what was stolen. Besides getting your money back, that's compensatory damages, courts can also award what are called punitive damages, basically to punish the fraudster. And in some cases, you can even get treble damages, which means recovering up to 3 times the amount you lost. But actually getting any of this? Well, it all depends on surviving a long and really uncertain legal process.
And all of this brings us to the final and maybe the most complex part of our story, the human element. For the investigators who are on the front lines of this thing, this isn't just a technical battle or a legal one, it's an ethical one.
Which really brings us to the central question for every single investigator out there. Their mission is to find the truth, right? But how do you do that without accidentally destroying the lives of innocent people who might get caught in the middle? How do you stay objective when the financial and the human stakes are just so incredibly high?
And there are no easy answers here. For example, an investigator could take a utilitarian approach, do whatever it takes to stop a massive fraud scheme for the greater good, even if that means an innocent employee's reputation gets dragged through the mud. But on the other hand, an approach called justice as fairness would say no, you have to protect that employee's rights, even if that makes catching the real bad guy a lot harder. As you can see, these two ideas can be in total conflict with each other.
Which leaves us right here. This is not a war with a clear finish line. It's a constant cycle of innovation, where every new defense just inspires a brand new form of attack. So the real question isn't who's winning today, it's, in this relentless AI arms race, who's already planning the next move?